Hello you all, how are you? May peace be upon you. In this clip I am going to talk about is first session of PBL. We are talking about the process of PBL. Till now we know the PBL consists of 2 sessions. So I am going to talk about the first session, which consists of first 5 jumps of Maastricts model. Just revising, in Maastricts 7 jump model, students working in a group clarify the text of the problem scenario, group defines the problem, brainstorming is used to identify explanation for phenomena observed in the problem scenario, the group reaches internal conclusion, the group formulates learning outcomes. So in session, the purpose of session 1 is, at the end, the students should themselves generate the learning objectives from this clinical scenario, what they want to learn in fact. Then obviously they are going to work independently in session 2, which I am going to discuss later on. Before starting the Maastricts jumps in the first session, it is important is setting the stage by the facilitator of the session 1. Facilitator means the teacher. First you have to set the stage. Once you set the stage, then you start the Maastricts jumps, the Maastricts model. So they will setting the stage. First is introduction, then is the ice breaking, and then a ground rules. 3 important things. Obviously, in the first session, the facilitator is going to introduce himself. The students are going to introduce themselves, so the whole group become familiar to each other and reaches to the performing stage of group dynamics. Ice breaking can be done by many means, because when the students and the facility, they are the first time, they are confused, they don't know each other, they have to relax so that they can start learning. There are many methods to break the ice. One could be participants come from different backgrounds, people need to be bond quickly so as to work towards a common goal, your team is newly formed, the topic you are discussing are new or unfamiliar to many people involved. As facilitator, you need to get to know participants and have them know you better. So there are many techniques of ice breaking. Just to give you a list, a little known fact, you can ask everyone, okay, tell your name and tell something little known fact. It could be 2 statements and a lie, answer the question, guess the favorite show, fun and funny, if you were a vegetable. Many ways you can break the ice. After breaking the ice, then ground rules are to be established. Some common ground rules are punctuality, mutual respect, make an eye contact, speak one at a time, mobiles on silent mode, everyone must participate. If all group members they follow these ground rules, the group dynamics becomes very meaningful and it's easier for the students to learn. So once ground broken, then very important step is the students have to be assigned the roles. So the facilitator asks the students who wants to become the leader or chair of the group, who wants to become the scribe, who wants to become the researcher, and who wants to become the timekeeper. So out of the group of 14, 10 to 14 or 15, whatever the students are, one student becomes the leader or chair, one scribe, one researcher, and one timekeeper. Each one has a role to play. Each one of them, a role has to be played. The role of the leader or chair, which is the student in fact, is lead the group through the process. So therefore, he's leading the group through the process. That process is being properly followed. Encourage all members to participate. It is his role, if somebody is not participating, to nudge him to participate. And if somebody is participating a lot, allowing others to participate. Maintain positive group dynamics. Ensure group keeps to task in the hand. They remain focused on the task. Ensure scribe can keep up and is making an accurate record. So it is the role of the leader that is keeping an eye on the scribe also, that is keeping the record accurately. Not only that, he has to keep an eye on the timekeeper also. He is also recording it accurately. So what does scribe do? The role of the scribe is record points made by the group. So what scribe does is, he stands, there's a whiteboard or blackboard with him, and whatever the group is deciding, the points group is bringing up, the scribe writes them on the board. Help group order and thought. And when many points are coming on the board, it helps how to organize those thoughts in words, in sentences. At the same time, he is also participating in the group discussion. The role of the researcher is, if the group wants to find out at that point something and they want, so there is a person they appoint, he can Google and he can find the things also. This is an additional support, but it is not a must rule. And what is the role of the teacher? The role of the teacher is encourage all group members to participate, assist student chair facilitator with group dynamics and timekeeping, check scribe keeps accurate record, prevent sidetracking, ensure group achieves appropriate learning outcomes, check understanding, assess performance, and prevent sidetracking. So therefore, we have students with the roles. One is the leader of the chair, which is leading the process. There is a scribe which writes. There is a timekeeper which keeps the time, record of the time, so that the first session has to be completed in time, second session has to be completed in a time, and the facilitator, which is the teacher himself. After setting the stage, then these steps, first 5 steps, are to be completed in first session. Let me take you these steps by an example. This is the problem scenario which the teacher gave to the students. Dr. Noor walks in a small group teaching room to take a PBL session. She is confused as to how she will conduct the session since she had not been trained on this instruction methodology. Last night, looking at the process of PBL session, she found that it is an innovative student-centered strategy that encourages learning through inquiry and exploration. She discovered there is a trigger in PBL and assigned roles of the students, identifying gap in their knowledge, conduct research, and apply their learning to understanding the problem and solve it. She was fascinated to learn that PBL methodology can inculcate in students' generic skills And the role of the facilitator is unlike that of the traditional teacher. If I am the teacher, I have given them, and I am keeping quiet. The students have already been taught what are the steps of PBL. So, once the student read this thing, they are trying to understand what's written in that, and few words have popped up which they want clarification. Possibly that may include like SGT, PBL, instructional strategy, student-centered, trigger, generic skills. So they're talking about themselves. So what is the meaning of these? They might be knowing it, they might not be knowing it, and since they're discussing, they're trying to clarify. Few of them could have been clarified, others, after discussing, they don't know what it is. Step 2 is group defines the problem. Now, after reading this clinical scenario, they define the problem is Dr. Noor does not know much about PBL. That's the problem, isn't it? The problem is he does not know much. It is coming in the mind, what is PBL, what is the process of PBL, how to conduct session of PBL. So that's the problem. Brainstorming to identify explanations for the phenomena observed in the problem scenario. These are the phenomena which were being observed. The group reaches internal conclusion about the problem. So the conclusion about the problem is that Dr. Noor does not know how to conduct PBL. So the problem is to know about PBL so that Dr. Noor's problem is solved. So therefore, the group forms the learning outcomes. These learning outcomes may include the terminologies which students don't know what they are and they want to find out. Like, define PBL, characteristics of PBL, model of PBL, process of PBL, roles and responsibilities of students and teacher. So these are the learning outcomes the students have derived at the end of the session. Now, before the beginning of second session, the student should be able to know the definition of PBL. They should be able to know what are the characteristics of a PBL. They should also know what is the process of PBL, and they should be able to tell, is there any model available for the PBL process, so on and so forth. This is the end of session 1. And in between the session of PBL, students work independently of the teacher to achieve the learning outcomes. They self-study individually or in subgroup or as students feel like. And by the end of this session, the learning outcomes which they had defined the first session, they should have been achieved by the students. And in third session, when they're going to discuss, they are going to be very clear, have the learning outcomes been achieved, what they wanted to learn, have they learned that or not, and that's what learning is. Teamwork is the key to the process of learning. This is what they learn PBL once they're doing these things. We're going to have a break. And the last thing that we're going to talk about is the second session of PBL. Have a good day. Bye-bye.